Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Moroasereme Ntsoane is my name. I'm going to present on the Renewable Energy Hub, also referred to sometime as ILEMBE, Renewable Energy Hub. The hub indeed focus on renewable energy, and I think globally, if you look at the global industry of renewables, it's a growing industry, and South Africa is one of the growth markets. As a country, we have renewable energy resources that we are exploiting and doing so quite successfully. We've got the renewable energy program in the country, which is regarded by many across the world as the most highly attractive. It's certainly the 12th most attractive market globally at this point in time. What the hub is looking to do is to take advantage of the renewables energy from a generation point of view and develop an industry locally which manufactures components which are able to then support the growth of the sector going forward. And I think why we do so is because the most impactful socioeconomic benefits that accrue from exploitation of renewables actually accrue from manufacturing and production of components that are linked to those technologies. I mean, if you look at the level of job creation that we talk about within the sector, there's not a lot of jobs that you create from post-construction that you actually create from the operation of some of these renewable energy plans. But I think the majority of the jobs and the socioeconomic impact broadly defined is to be had from establishing within a market a significant and a globally competitive components manufacturing industry. That's the outline of my presentation. I think that the business and the market potential within the province within South Africa is that it is indeed the fastest growing market. The location itself is in ILEMBE. I think from a logistics point of view, it is an attractive area within the province from a support of an industry that is actually growing, and it's still got huge potential going forward. This sector is very strongly supported by government, as is the case everywhere, because I think from a cost competitive point of view, you need policy and fiscal support. When we look at where the business potential is that already in the province we have institutions of higher learning that are actually doing some work in this area. There are various programs of skilling, various programs of developing the necessary capacity to be able to support the growth of the sector within the province. Specifically, not only on the renewable energy components manufacturing side, but also around the energy efficiency side of the whole sustainability movement. For instance, there are research chairs that are hosted within the province by various academic institutions, all with an intention to develop the necessary skills which are important in trying to develop the sector. And I think growth of the sector within South Africa, as I indicated, is very much driven by policy, and indeed our energy planning and the energy mix that we envisage to have as a country into the future is driving a significant penetration of specific renewable energy technologies into the total energy mix. Just a look at the province and the location of the hub, and specifically ILEMBE as the center of activities for the hub. As I indicated, it is going to be located within ILEMBE, but it's by no means confined in terms of its activities within ILEMBE. I think we appreciate the fact that a lot of the sector is driven to a large extent by the location of the renewable energy resource, and so therefore, to the extent that the resource is not confined to ILEMBE, there would be cases where activities within the hub are located elsewhere in the province. But indeed, ILEMBE will retain its central focus as what can be regarded as the headquarters of the operations of the hub. And so, in order for us to to develop this sector, we need to look at a number of subsectors within the renewable energy technology ecosystem, whether it's renewable energy components, whether it's waste management or recycling or production of goods from other subsectors that could be regarded as falling under the green industry sector. We would then look to take advantage of those opportunities that emanate from those sectors to produce products, and of course services, professional services, which the hub could then support. In terms of the infrastructure requirements, of course, there would be a support for manufacturing plants and manufacturers and professional companies that are located within the hub. What we've done in terms of the work thus far is to try and characterize the nature of this hub in the form of a feasibility, whose outcome is captured in what I present there. It's still, those numbers are the numbers that we're working with at this stage, but indeed they are important in as far as they illustrate the scale of the development, but the numbers could shift up or down as we continue to refine the delivery model for the hub. But basically, possible tenants, we're still looking to be not only an environment where established manufacturers could come and get involved, but we're also looking to provide the kind of services where which are aligned to the development of a new industry, i.e. the creation of new enterprises that are looking to enter into the market for the first time. And we would do so, I think, with investment partners, because I think some of those manufacturers that we envisage having within the hub would necessarily have to be supported financially and through other means to be able to grow. And that is why I think we envisage a situation where there's closer collaboration with funding partners, with policymakers, and with development agencies within the province. In terms of our focus areas, or focusing on who are typically the type of tenants that would like to see project developers whose projects might not necessarily be within the province, as I've indicated, but they locate here within the province to exploit resources that are prevalent in the province. There could be manufacturers in the hubs, and indeed professional services companies that render services to the renewable energy industry. In that respect, you could have enterprises that undertake environmental impact analysis. You could have funders. You could have funders that are dedicated towards supporting the renewable energy sector. You could have cooperatives that are undertaking activities such as perhaps recycling or conversion of waste to energy in that way. Those would be the kind of enterprises that we would look to host within the hub. And not, of course, forgetting the fact that we need to develop innovative capacity within this enterprise, and therefore there's a role for funding institutions to get involved, not only to develop new products, but to localize existing products, to customize existing renewable energy components and products to fit local conditions. And so therefore there's an important focus, or will be an important focus within the hub, to develop a strong relationships and linkages between the hub's inhabitants and institutions of higher learning and training providers, because I think indeed the sector itself has to rely on the availability of skilled labor, without which it can't actually grow. So it would be remiss on our side to try and establish an industry without taking care of other supportive legs within the whole architecture of the hub. The hub facilities would be typically those that you would find in a normal incubator. I think some of my colleagues have covered a lot of these, but I think of particular relevance for this hub is the fact that the sector itself is still being developed, I suppose, not only within the province, but within South Africa. So there's probably within the hub a much more stronger focus towards the need to put in place supportive mechanisms and supportive infrastructure or supportive facilities. In that respect, business incubation, identifying emergent opportunities, identifying new technologies that we can support to grow even further, would be a key activity within the renewable energy hub as we currently envisaged. I think the universe of renewable energy technology is quite varied. What we've tried to do with this table is to try and see, if you go through all the technologies, which of these does the province actually have a specific advantage, and which of these should we as a province be focusing upon, and strictly with a focus towards components manufacturing. We make the point very strongly because the hub is not intended to be a generator of electricity or energy. So we focus strictly on the production of components, machinery, and equipment to support those that are generating electricity from these renewable energy components. So we expect that, we believe that there's opportunity to establish manufacturing hubs or manufacturing enterprises supporting the deployment of those technologies. We believe there's opportunities for rendering of technical services and R&D activities in close cooperation with private sector innovators and also academic institutions to explore new areas within the sector, such as smart grids, such as technologies that are emerging or that are pre-commercialization. I think there's a need for us to, specifically in something like ocean energy, where a lot of work is happening elsewhere in the world, and we know that we do have a resource, quite an attractive resource as a province, and that it's an area that we should focus upon. Why invest in renewable energy components? I think geographically, the location of the hub is accessible not only to local markets, but to markets overseas. Not only overseas, but also on the African continent as well. And so therefore, I think the choice of the hub and its location is intended to serve not only the South African market, but the African market and international markets as well. And as we continue to grow the energy generating side of renewable energy, we expect that more space would be created for the manufacturing of components. And that's the space within which the hub would look to play. I think what we would need from a funding point, from an investment point of view in the hub, is that it will be a supportive environment to the extent that it needs to position itself as a competitive location relative to others that might be available for other potential manufacturers. So we would put together a suite of incentives that try and position the hub as a competitive facility out there, which has specific advantages that are probably not available elsewhere outside the hub. And I think the approach that we take is that it should be a collaborative effort, I think, between the private sector, ourselves, the hub, on the development side of the hub, academic institutions, property developers, SMMEs, project developers, emergent SMMEs, and researchers and R&D players in the sector itself to make it a successful undertaking. And I would like to bring it to an end here and propose that, in fact, I think let's engage further about some of the activities and some of the options that are available within the hub, and also to develop a much more thorough understanding of what components manufacturing opportunities can be supported within the hub to support the success of the hub. Thank you.
Thank you.